Okay, so this one, as my pastor used to always say, my old pastor, it's tight, but it's right. God's love for you is unconditional, but blessings are conditional. So let me go ahead and explain that. Matthew 5 and 45. That you may be children of your Father in heaven, he causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Or it says that God will bless the just as well as the unjust. Now, depending on how you decide to live your life, yeah, God will still bless you. Like I said, God will always love you. That's what God does. Unconditional. No matter what you do, you're supposed to keep continuing to go to Him. But then there's ways that what you do, God will allow more blessings, and two, you can bring more blessings to yourself. So let's get into the word. Matthew 5 and 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. So the ones that are peacemakers, God is saying they're blessed. Luke 6:35. But love your enemies, do good to them. Now this is if we do this and lend to them expecting nothing in return, then your reward will be great and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. So saying like your enemies. That's why in life when we do things for people and they don't pay us back and they said they was, don't worry about it. God will pay you back. God said in his word in Luke 6:38, whatever you bless others with, by the measure, it will be measured back to you. And I know, it should be that they should pay us back. Okay, Rick said he's going to give me $20 back, on Friday because I let him borrow it. If he don't worry about it. Don't even lose sleep over it. God's going to pay you back. Deuteronomy 11 and 25. No man will be able to stand before you. The Lord your God will lay down dread of you, the fear of you, and all the land which you set forth as he has spoken to you. Verse 26. See, I am setting before you today a blessing or a curse. So you can choose. You can choose to be blessed or you can choose to be cursed. Verse 27, the blessing if you listen to the commandments of the Lord your God, which I am commanding you today. So if you listen to the things of the Bible, then you will have a blessing. It's almost like an app on a phone. Imagine having access to it, but you never use it. It talks about the fruits of the Spirit. So the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So all those God said we can have, if we remain in Jesus, and Jesus said he remained in us. We're talking about Galatians 5 and 22. And then apart from me, that's John 15 and 5. So those are things we can access. So if we don't, imagine, like I said, having an app on there and you just never use it. Those are the things that we can have access to, and that blessings are conditional. So if we do those things, we can have those blessings. So I ask you, if any of those things you need, that's what you should do. Let's get back to the word. James 3 and 9. With the tongue we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in God's likeness. Verse 10, out of the same mouth come blessing and cursing. My brothers, this should not be. Verse 11, can both fresh water and bitter water flow from the same spring? So that's why it's so important what we talk about, because we have to be careful, because we can actually say things and then we say it so much we start to believe it. And then that's when we stop believing the word. James 1 and 19, my beloved brothers, understand that everyone should be quiet. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. So the first thing he said was listen. That's why we have two ears. That's why we have one mouth. That's why, I try to be careful with what I say, because it can bring life to somebody. That's why some people inbox me and they, they feel like their soul has been revived because of the words that I choose to speak. But if we say ourselves things, this is why I speak life. No matter, I speak life to my situation, so I continue doing this. And I love doing this for God, because this allows me to have that peace and joy, because what I do for God, I know he's happy. Again, I'm not perfect, but the joy that and the peace that God has given me in situations that, no worrying about, or just saying, what, Lord, you got it. And I could have been like, oh man, what am I going to worry? When God said he's going to take care of it, God said he's going to take care of it. Even if you pray and God tells you, I'm going to take care of this situation, is already under control. Even if the situation gets worse, because that's what it does sometimes. It'll get worse. That does not mean that God, lied about it. You just got to stand firm on the truth. And how do you stand firm on the truth? By reading the word. Let's get back into it. James 1:19. My beloved brothers, understand. Oh, we talked about that. 2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, training in righteousness. So that's what the scripture is here for. That's why I can sit here and say, what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Because that's what the word says. It gives life. Verse 17. So that the man of God may be complete, fully equipped for every good work. So we have to be fully equipped. And a lot of times we're equipped. We have the, like I was talking about, we have the, we have the Bible, but we don't read it. That's why we have to teach ourselves. That's why we have to study in the word, so we can be equipped when life hits us with storms, trials, and we got to go back to the word. Because if we don't go back to the word, we're just operating with like these apps that we have access to, but we don't even use it. Imagine having the Bible app on your phone. Oh yeah, that's the #1 app on my phone, and you never use it. It's no good if you don't use it. Proverbs 18:21. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So you have a choice. That's why we got to be careful what we say. And the important thing is, depending on how you feel, that's when you got to be careful what to say, because something can happen, and then you can just, speak life, or you can, speak death. Something can happen. Somebody does something, and then all of a sudden people are saying. That's why we look at how the world is today. That's why you got to be careful what you say, because you can actually put that in the atmosphere, and then you'll set. Just imagine like your mouth is the weather, So if you say life, the sun comes out. If you speak death, thunder and lightning is coming in your life. So ask you, what would you rather have? And don't get me wrong. Some people are like, oh well, I definitely like to, sleep in the weather, when it's raining or thunder and lightning. But I'm just saying. What type of weather do you want to live in? Proverbs 10:19. When there are many words, transgressions is avoidable, but he who restrains his lips is wise. That's why we got to be careful what we say, because even talking, even though this mouth, this can destroy a lot of things. You can lose your job. A lady on the, what was it? A police officer, white police officer, female lady, she said something, and she had said on her Facebook, she had got let go. She had said something about I forgot what she was saying, but it was saying like, oh, today is gonna be a good day, nigga, something like that. And said she lost her job. You can go to work and be saying a whole bunch of stuff, and you can lose your job. That's why they interview you, because what you say can actually determine whether you get hired or not. So 13:3 Proverbs, the one who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from trouble. Matthew 15:10, Jesus called to the crowd and him and said, listen, understand. Verse 11, a man is not defiled by what enters his mouth, but by what comes out of it. That's why we got to be careful what he said. In verse 12, then the disciples came to him and said, are you aware the Pharisees were offended when they heard this? They're offended because of the word of God. People are always going to be offended because of what the word of God says. Proverbs 4:5. It says, get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or turn away from them. Verse 7. The beginning of wisdom is this. Get wisdom, though it costs all you have, get understanding. Because there are some people that are not going to understand it. Some people, they believe in God, but do they have a personal relationship? Just because somebody believes in God does not mean that they follow his word or his truth. Then you look at Romans 10:14. I'm looking at the last part of the verse. And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? So that's why, people are supposed to teach the Bible so they can understand and break it down. And you can go on there, you can ask questions, and that's why you can go on there yourself so you can be able to, understand what God is trying to say to you. And also, that's why where I'm at right now in my life, when God showed me in teaching others, and breaking it down, I'm like, okay, God, like this is what you meant by this scripture. Because you can sit there and read it and not even get it. You could tell somebody, even with basic numbers, you could tell somebody 2 + 2 is 4. But if they don't understand, I mean, what good is it? And they might believe you, hey, 2 + 2 is 4. Everybody's saying it, but you got to understand how you got there. This is the same thing like with the word. It has to be taught to people, and broken down so they can understand it. But just wanted to be a blessing to you and let you know God's love is unconditional, but blessings are conditional. And listen, it says obedience is better than sacrifice. And God said in his word, no good thing will he uphold from those that walk righteously or uprightly. That's what it said in his word. God bless y'all.